Hey guys, welcome to Ultimate Survival Tips. I'm David. Today we're coming to you from outside. It's a beautiful summer day up here in the mountains, the endless mountains of north central Pennsylvania. Awesome day. Today we're going to take a look at the Bear Grylls Survival Series Ultimate Fine Edge Knife and compare it to its big brother, the Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife with Serrations. And we're going to take a look at this knife in relation to the Gerber LMF2 also. We'll also have some fun as we go along. We're going to lash this knife to a spear. Plus I thought it'd be really cool and use the hammer end of this knife to bust through a truck window. And then we'll go out on the mountain and use this knife and the fire steel that it comes with to start a fire. And along the way I'm sure I'll share with you who this knife is for and some other alternatives that you might want to consider depending on your needs. So let's jump in and get started. So the original Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife with Serrations was released in late 2010 and has become the best-selling survival knife in the world over the last couple of years. Its popularity is really not a surprise with the popularity of Bear Grylls. But of course, with popularity comes critics. And supporters wanted more, and many of them pleaded for a version of this knife that had a fine edge blade, which means a blade with no serrations. So in early 2012, Gerber released the knife that I have in my hands right now, the Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate Fixed Blade Survival Knife with a fine edge. Woo, that's a mouthful. So that means all you guys who want to be Bear Grylls when you grow up, all you knife junkies, and all you pajama bloggers ought to be happy, right? So regardless, we now have a fine edge version of this knife to choose from. So there. So why don't we just get started and buzz through the specs and features of this knife really quick. And then we'll go out on the back 40 and have some fun. And we'll bust that truck window, I promise. And we'll go out and get a fire started. So let's talk about the size. Bear Grylls Survival Series Ultimate Fine Edge Knife is a moderate-sized knife. Overall length of this knife is the same as the serrated version, of course, which is 10 inches. The blade length is 4.8 inches. And the overall length of this knife is slightly larger than the Gerber Prodigy and a bit smaller than the Gerber LMF2. This knife weighs 11.2 ounces with the sheath. The weight totals 14.7 ounces, just about a pound. So what is a knife? A knife essentially is a blade and a handle, and then there's a lot of variations in between. So the blade is a really big deal. And this is really where the big difference between this knife and the half serrated version lies. This fine edge knife sports 4.75 inches, about 4.8 inches of pure, clean, cutting edge from tip to handle. It's made of high carbon stainless steel. The steel's similar, but a step down from the 420 HC stainless that's used in the Prodigy and the LMF2. Now I have gotten the chemical formulation for this steel from Gerber, but honestly I can't say it. So I'm not even going to try, but what I'll do is I'll put it in the video description below so you can check it out. So first impressions of this blade, it really wasn't very sharp out of the box, but it wasn't completely dull either. You could use it, but it wasn't razor sharp like the SOG Steel Pup or even the Gerber Bear Grylls Compact Survival Knife, which came out of the box really sharp. So anyway, the Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife with a fine edge is suitable to use out of the box. But you may want to give it a few strokes with a sharpener like the Smith's Pocket Pal or the new Bear Grylls sharpener before taking this knife out on your first adventure. Both of these sharpeners are really affordable, but I can hear you saying right now, but this knife comes with a sharpener. Why don't we just use that? Well, you can if you're experienced with using a stone sharpener, but I would recommend before you use the included sharpener on this knife that you practice first on a knife you really don't care about. You don't want to mess up the manufacturer's edge on this knife practicing if you're not familiar with how to use a stone sharpener. Enough said about the sharpener. So this knife is really patterned after the proven design of the popular and troop-tested LMF2 ASEK. Gerber did a great job hitting their target market for this knife. One of the ways they did that is the knife is manufactured in China. Now, I can hear it. Some of you hate the thought of knives being made in China. But let's face it, just about everything's made in China today. I hate it, and maybe you do too. But heck, even my iPhone is assembled in China, but of course it's designed by Apple in California. Woohoo! So all that being said, being made in China does not mean that the product's a piece of junk. Gerber's tight specs for this knife are quite high. It's obvious when you get this knife in your hands. And I know, I see the comments on my other videos. Yes, there are better knives, sure. Is this the best knife for batoning? Is this the best knife for bushcraft? Is this the best knife for military? No, it's not. But this is a great starter knife for anybody who wants a meaty, reliable survival knife. If you want to step up to an American designed and made survival knife, save up about an extra $30 and get the LMF2 ASEK. Okay, let's talk about the handle. So the handle of this knife is made of a special injection molded plastic that is covered with a durable textured rubber. The handle is soft, comfortable, and grippy. Owners seem to agree about this handle. They find it comfortable for extended use. Much like the Gerber LMF2 ASEK, the Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife also has 3 strategically placed holes in the handle that make it easy to lash this knife to a pole so that you can make it into a spear. So I went out and did this a little bit earlier. I basically cut a sapling tree, skinned it, lashed it to the knife, and threw it at some stuff, mostly trees. The bottom of the handle is a stainless steel pommel that's designed to hammer, pound, break, and smash things. I also used it to easily hammer nails, but just be careful. If you miss, you might just hit your hand, and that hurts. The butt end of this knife is also an effective tool for breaking through glass in an emergency. Okay, now for some fun. Let's go out and bash our way out of my vintage F-150 truck. So now we're going to use the butt end of this knife to try and break this window and get out of this vehicle. You always want to make sure that your hand is fully covered, and that's why I recommend that you have gloves in the vehicle with you. If you don't have gloves, you can wrap your rag around your hand. Just make sure that you have all the exposed parts of your hand covered in your wrist. But since I have gloves, I'm going to use them. Okay, let's do it and see what happens. As you can see, the hammer end easily broke through the window, and I was also able to escape out of the truck within seconds. The knife comes with a very sufficient sheath. It's made out of pretty good quality nylon. The knife's held firmly in the sheath with a simple friction lock mechanism similar to that of the LMF2 knife. I like that this knife can be placed in the sheath for left or right hand carry, and the knife is held tight against the top of the sheath with a nylon strap that has Velcro on it. A small but loud emergency whistle is incorporated into the Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knives, and it comes tight around the butt end of this knife. It's really not a bad idea at all. I just don't like things dangling from the end of the knife, so you may want to take it off and locate it somewhere else on the sheath. So there's a pretty inconspicuous pouch that's sewn into the back of the sheath, and it holds the basic survival guide that Bear Grylls put together. And it's nice that it's essentially part of the sheath, because it tucks in really tight back there, so it's not going to get lost unless you take it out and you don't put it back. So since it's a really awesome day, I thought it'd be really cool to get out and start a fire with this knife and the fire steel that comes with it. So we've got all our materials. The odds are kind of stacked for us in this case. It's been a really wet spring here, but we found some good materials. We've got some paper birch on the property, so that should help us as far as tinder goes. I found this standing grass from last year. This should be real nice. We've got these little tiny maple leaves that are all dried out, so we'll use all this for our tinder. We've got some little pile of kindling right here, and then we've got some larger stuff. So let's build this fire. Now let's see, what do we want to put on here first? Maybe we'll put on some of this paper birch. Throw in some of these leaves, and then we'll grab these heads of grass. We'll see what happens here, and grab our fire steel. a Bear Grylls knife. And so on the back of the knife here, you can see there's a kind of a little notch cut out here. That's our striker area. So there we go. So now let's talk about the price of the Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate Fixed Blade Fine Edge Survival Knife. It's got a street price for around $45 US. Owners rate this knife on average at around 4 out of 5 stars. So who's this knife for? Well, this knife is a really good choice for those that want to do camping, hiking, backpacking, and it's a good knife to have in your vehicle or your home emergency kit just in case. The fine edge version is going to appeal to those who don't want to deal with sharpening the serrations and want a clean cutting edge. If you want some extra cutting power regardless of how sharp the fine edge is, and you don't want to fuss with sharpening your knife quite as much, go with the serrated version. If you're really looking for a military or tactical knife, this isn't really the knife for you. The Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife is not designed for tactical use. And really, its coloring alone completely disqualifies it for any kind of military or tactical application. If you're looking for a military or tactical survival knife, look at the SOG Seal Pup, the SOG Force, the Gerber LHR, or for really great value, look at the Gerber LMF2, Infantry, or Survival. If you're looking for a knife that you can carry all the time, check out the Bear Grylls Compact Fixed Blade Knife. Check out the Compact Scout, and I really like the Bear Grylls Folding Sheath Knife. So for your convenience, I'm going to include links to all of the gear and knives that I've mentioned in this video in the description below. So here's my final thoughts on the Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife with Fine Edge. It's really a pretty impressive value. It's similar to the Gerber LMF2 in design, durability, and craftsmanship. Even if you're not an outdoorsy type person, I think it's a great idea to have this knife around the house just in case you ever need it in an emergency situation. Plus, you get all the great stuff that comes with this knife for a relatively low street price of around 45 bucks. Alright, so we've taken a quick look at the Bear Grylls Fixed Blade Ultimate Survival Knife in Fine Edge. So this is David coming to you from the endless mountains of beautiful north central Pennsylvania, and I hope this review has been helpful to you and you're a bit closer to finding the survival gear that suits your needs. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and check back often for more gear reviews and survival tips. And I hope to see you on the other side.